Yes, any kind of virus, but most probably something similar to influenza.
Because of air travel?
Through the air. Coughing.
I'm sorry, I meant people on planes. That was something you described in your book.
Yes, a new virus in Madagascar, say, could be in Chicago within a matter of weeks, and we end up with a global pandemic. Pan meaning all, the whole world becomes sick all at once.
And Dr. Newman, you're also an epidemiologist. I presume the prospect of a viral pandemic keeps you up at night as well?
No.
No?
No.
All right, well, that's our show.
No, mankind has been at war with the virus from the start. Sometimes millions of people die, as in an actual war, but in the end, we always win.
But you, just to be clear, you do think microorganisms pose a threat?
Oh, in the most dire terms.
Bacteria?
No.
You like saying no?
Yes.
Not bacteria, not viruses, so...
Fungus. Yes, that's the usual response. Fungi seem harmless enough. Many species know otherwise, because there are some fungi who seek not to kill, but to control. Let me ask you, where do we get LSD from?
Where do you get it from?
It comes from ergot, a fungus. Psilocybin, also a fungus. Viruses can make us ill, but fungi can alter our very minds. There's a fungus that infects insects, gets inside an ant, for example, travels through its circulatory system to the ant's brain, and then floods it with hallucinogens, thus bending the ant's mind to its will. The fungus starts to direct the ant's behavior, telling it where to go, what to do, like a puppeteer with a marionette. And it gets worse. The fungus needs food to live, so it begins to devour its host from within, replacing the ant's flesh with its own. But it doesn't let its victim die, no. It keeps its puppet alive by preventing decomposition. How? Where do we get penicillin from?
Fungus.
Oh.
Dr. Schoenheis, you're in distress.
Fungal infection of this kind is real, but not in humans.
True, fungi cannot survive if its host's internal temperature is over 94 degrees. And currently, there are no reasons for fungi to evolve to be able to withstand higher temperatures. But what if that were to change? What if, for instance, the world were to get slightly warmer? Well, now, there is reason to evolve. One gene mutates, and an Ascomycetia, Candida, ergot, cordyceps, aspergillus, any one of them could become capable of burrowing into our brains and taking control, not of millions of us, but billions of us. Billions of puppets with poisoned minds, permanently fixed on one unifying goal: to spread the infection to every last human alive by any means necessary. And there are no treatments for this, no preventatives, no cures. They don't exist. It's not even possible to make them.
So if that happens...
we lose.
We'll be back.
Oh, shit.
All right, we're coming back to you today with another video. This is Kala coming to you with something that y'all just saw a little bit earlier. I'm calling this video Organoid Intelligent, and it's parallel to a post-apocalyptic world of Last of Us. The concept of organoid intelligence having some interesting and unsettling parallels to the post-apocalyptic world depicted in The Last of Us. So before we even go forward, my name is Kal-El. I do crypto consultations, metaverse NFTs, and spiritual metaphysical to a degree. I'm here to help. My information will be in the description. But other than going from that, let's get straight into it. And going straight into it, we're first going to learn what an organoid is, right? Because if you don't know what it is, why does it matter? Well, an organoid is, you said organoid facts, is the 3D structure mimic real organs and model human disease. So basically, this is a petri dish in which they put stem cells, brains, and things of that nature, and use it therefore after. To understand how the organ develops and to study the effects of drugs and genetic mutation and to develop new treatment methods. So what is an organoid again? Right? In the petri dish, an organoid 3D structures that mimic the characteristics of real organs. These models use the stem cells from tissue samples, the various organs like the brain, the liver, the kidney, or in this case, the colon. From testing within them, they can see how it goes. But wait, we will see how organoids intelligence is going forward. In this article, it says, could future computers run on human brain cells? Johns Hopkins researchers tout the promise of organoid intelligence, which could one day yield computers that are faster, more efficient, and more powerful than the silicon-based computing and AI. It says here, a biocomputer powered by human brain cells could be developed within our lifetime, according to Johns Hopkins University's researchers, who expect such technology to exponentially expand the capabilities of modern computing and create novel fields of study. The team outlines their plan for organoid intelligence today in the frontiers in science. Computing and artificial intelligence have been driven the technology revolution, but they are reaching a ceiling. Biocomputing is an enormous effort of compacting computation power and increasing its efficiency past our current technological limits. For a near decade, scientists have used tiny organoids, lab-grown tissue, reassembling fully grown organs to experiment on the kidneys, lungs, and other organs without resorting to human and animal testing. More recently, Herger and colleagues at Johns Hopkins have been working with brain organoids, orbs the size of a pin, dot with neurons and other features that promises the same basic functions like learning and remembering. This opens up research on how the human brain works, because you can start manipulating the system and do things you can't ethically do with the human brain. Herger began to grow and assemble brain cells and functional organoids in 2012 using cells from the human skin samples reprogrammed in its embryonic stem cell-like state. Each organoid contains about 50,000 cells at about the size of a fruit fly nervous system. He now envisions building a futuristic computer with such brain organoids. Computers that run on the biological hardware could, in the next decade, begin to alleviate the energy consumption demands of supercomputers that are becoming increasingly unsustainable. Harkin says that even though computers process computations involving numbers and data faster than human brains are much smarter in making complex logical decisions, like telling a dog from a cat. The brain is still unmatched by modern computers. Frontier, the last supercomputer in Kentucky, is a $600 million, 6,800 square feet installation. Only in June of last year, it exceeded for the first time computation capacity of a single human brain, but using 1 million times more energy. It might take decades for organoid intelligence can have the power a system as smart as a mouse. But by scaling up production of brain organoids and training them with artificial intelligence, he foresees a future where biocomputers support superior computing speed, processing power, data efficiency, and storage capabilities. It will take decades before we achieve the goal of something comparable to any computer, but if we don't start funding the programs for this, it will be more difficult. Organoid intelligence could revolutionize drug testing research for neurodevelopment disorders and neurodegeneration. We want to compare brain organoids from typically developed donors versus brain organoids from donors with autism. The tools we are developing towards biological computing are the same that we allow us to understand changes in the neuron network specifically for autism without having to use animals or to access patients, so we can understand the underlying mechanisms of why patients have these cognitive issues and imperatives. Now, and summing all that up, people, right? Because I know that was a lot. Basically, they're saying from them growing stem cells of brains in the petri dish, they will be able to, in the future, have artificial intelligence run off human brains that they build in those petri dishes instead of the large, square by square, thousands of feet computers. And to keep that going, here we go. It says scientists aim to create AI from human brain cells, right? Artificial intelligence from human brain cells is a study published in the medical journals first year. They are hoping to harness the power of organized 3D cultures of human brain cells to create an advanced biotech system with the superior capacity of learning and memory than computer concepts. So they said the brain can store 2,500 terabytes of information and use much less energy than computers, which are reaching the physical limits of telecom technology. However, the development raises ethical concerns, including potential for organoids to develop consciousness. So what they're saying so far is that the human brain is still more superior than Silicon Valley technology. And that if they were to build this and put this into petri dishes, this may raise an ethical concern and situation if it gains its own consciousness. All right. This
past week,
is another one. After AI intelligence scientists announced
these things called organoids. It's a self-organizing.
It's a self-organizing brain organoid in a petri dish, as you can see right there.
3D tissue that organizes itself into a superstructure that resembles an organ. So then they got some brain tissue.
That has brain tissue.
They trained one of these brain to play the ping pong video game.
Brains to play ping pong video.
They're now coining organoid intelligence. The idea is over time, this organic intelligence has the potential to be far more superior to AI. It wasn't until this past year that we finally.
It wasn't for this past year that again that $600 million computer came out to the technology. But wait, there's more. This is what they call a real life zombie ant. He said this is a mind-controlling fungus that was based on the spores in Last of Us, and we will get on that. It said this parasite is here to control the minds of its insect victims, with some species turning their hosts into real-life zombies. So these spores jump on these insects and cause them to be controlled by organoid fungi. Nope. And as you can see right there, these terrifying brainwashers are cordyceps. Their spores enter the victim and set up shop immediately. Some of their closely related fungi is the cordyceps, a step further as one species. Cordyceps aroused slowly takes over and instructs the ant to act natural, making it basically go against its colony wishes. And when it's ready to spread, the cordyceps then compels the ant to climb up the tall vegetation and give the north side of the twig a leaf a final bite, locking its jaw into a death grip from here. The fruiting body of the fungus, also called scrim. So this fungi sprouts out of this ant from the back of the dead ants and begins to sprinkle spores. And the ants' colony mates below with even more zombie spores, creating such a cycle of mind control continues. Now, how this all connects basically to Last of Us, as you've seen in the beginning of this video, says organoids as infected proxies. Brain organoids grow in labs are like simplified miniature brains. They mirror some structures and functions of the human brain. In The Last of Us, the cordyceps infect radically alters the brains of humans, turning them into zombie-like creatures driven by primal urges. Both organoids and infected serve as a useful scientific proxy to study intelligence and brain function under the altered conditions. By manipulating the organoids genetically and exposing them to substances, researchers can study the effects on neutral circuits and cognition. This has parallel to study how cordyceps fungi physically changes and overrides the brain anatomy and function. Infection and neuromanipulation. The cordyceps infection spreads physically through the brains of humans, overwhelming their natural neutral connections and architecture. This hijacks their consciousness and behavior and intelligence. And with organoids, researchers can purposely introduce genetic modifications and expose that alter, damage, or enhance neutral development and activity patterns. This allows the study of how neutral wires influence cognition and intelligence. Both show human brains are vulnerable to external manipulation, whether by pathogens or scientists, that can radically change the nature of intelligence and identity. Speculative intelligence. In The Last of Us, the true mental experience of the infected left somewhat vague and open to speculation. They exhibit primal behaviors, both degree of consciousness or residual humanity is unclear. Organoids are also somewhat black boxes. While they have simplified brains, we cannot fully reconstruct or experience their internal intelligence or consciousness. Their cognitive capabilities are sure rudimentary and not fully understood. both promote philosophical questions about the emergences of non-human or superhuman intelligence that we cannot fully replicate or relate. This can unsettle notions of human identity and cognitions and unique. So in summary, organoid intelligence researchers shares bond themes with the twisted, altered neurobiology depicted in the functional world of Last of Us, showing both promise and perils of technology manipulating the human brain and whether reality or sci-fi, but both real still remain speculative and limited compared to the dire fictional scenario. And we're coming to the end of the video like this. Ladies and gentlemen, guys and goddesses, this is a reminder that time, science, biology, and therefore after is accelerating very quickly. While most of us are worried about, of course, our paychecks and, our bills and the things going on, science is moving from a Web 1 world to a Web 2 world to a Web 3 world to a metaverse, omniverse, artificial intelligence, artificial general intelligence, and now organoid intelligence. The possibility of grown brain stem cells and cordyceps fungi to take over the brain and function as a cognizant AI. We are about that time where we are in the twilight zone. Whatever seems unreal is now real, and reality is broken and shaken. This is a reminder of the Matrix. My job, if anything, is to remind you to wake up, that in this world we live in, things are a whole lot more sophisticated and things are going to get a whole lot weirder. The things that bump in the night are going to shine in the sun. So as always, I give crypto consultations, metaphysical, NFT, or code, and therefore, like after my information description, from this video, you have learned about organoid intelligence with our brain cells, stem cells, created in petri dishes to simulate artificial intelligence and computing power in the future, and maybe in the near future, and cordyceps fungi that can take over small insects and spread zombie-like spores. This is the reality. These things may be coming home closer than ever. As I always say, you can get in front of history or you can be a victim of it. It's always your choice. Kal-El, signing out.